Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper. You might well have guessed that my May class was all about background stamps. So I've got another couple of cards for you using this background stamp. It's called Among the Swallows. It has sadly retired, but it hasn't seen any love on my desk, and one of my New Year's resolutions was to not just get rid of stamp sets because they'd retired out of the catalogue, but to use them if I hadn't already used it. So this is one of those said sets. I think it was an online exclusive, but I'm pretty sure it's no longer available. But you can do this technique with any background stamp, so the technique is the same. Okay, so what I've done is I have got, sorry, I just need to reach for a different colour ink pad. I thought I was prepared and I'm not. Where have I put it? Okay. Oh, come on. No, it's not that one. Ah, that one. Okay. No, it isn't that one. Sorry, I'm being very indecisive today. I don't know what the heat does to me, quite frankly. I'm pretty sure it is Lemon Lolly. Yes, it is. Right, okay, so we have a base, a C6 base, that is half of an A4 sheet cut across the width. If you are somewhere that uses letterhead, then obviously same principle applies. And in the UK, the C6 is 10.5 across and 14.8 in depth. Okay, because obviously when it's open, that's 21 across, which is the width of an A4 sheet. Okay, so that's the base. Then I have got a piece of Lemon Lolly, which is cut to 14.3 by 10. So it's slightly smaller than the card, and a piece of basic white, which is cut to the same size. Okay, so I really love this stamp set. It's called Among the Swallows, and it's got irises, one of my favourite flowers, and I love swallows. So it seems to have welded itself into the case. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to mount that on my block, and if you've watched my previous videos in this series, you'll know that I can't hold this block. Okay, you might also be able to see that the label is slightly over the front of the block. Didn't do a very good job of lining that up, but it gives us an idea. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I have got an example, but we're going to change it up a little bit. So this is the example that I actually made. This leaf, fern leaf, is out of one of the new sets in one of the new suites in the catalogue. See if I can find it for you. Yeah, here we go. So it's from these dies, the dies that coordinate with the Beautiful Motifs stamp set. These are called Beautiful Motifs dies, funny that. And they are part of this beautiful gallery suite. So I should just tell you also that until the end of June, if you purchase a suite, you can have another suite at half price, or if you purchase any of the items from a suite, you can have a second item at half price. And obviously it will be the cheaper item that is half price. I will be putting in an order at the end of the month, so which is only the next weekend. I think next Sunday is the 29th, so I think it's the Monday of the following week. So if you are watching my videos and you want anything and it's before the 29th, or the end of day on the 29th of June, please let me know and I'll add it to my order. Alternatively, you can order online and just choose me as your demonstrator. Okay, so let's get going. So I'm going to move that card out of the way because we are going to change it up a little bit. So the first thing we need to do is we need to stamp our background stamp twice. Once onto the Lemon Lolly cardstock and once onto the basic white cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to ink up. It always makes me laugh when I open a Lemon Lolly ink pad because it looks orange. Looks like it's been tangoed, but trust me, it is yellow. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my stamp. Make sure I've got it all covered. Put that out of the way. And I'm going to go for the lemon lolly piece first. So again, you've seen me do this several times now. Now decide where you want it. If you want it central, fine. If you want to catch something on one side more than the other, then move it over. And I'm going to go slightly to the left because I need both pieces the same. Just watch on these big background stamps. There is an edge where there isn't any pattern. Okay, so we're just going to go around. So I've folded my piece of scrap paper over again, and we're just gently rubbing to make sure we've got that all covered, and then we're going to tip that off. There we go. So that's all of that, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing again with the piece of white. So I'm inking it up again, because if we were to try and stamp it again, the white image would be quite pale. Okay, and then I'm going to line this up again. And then again, put that over. And then gently give it a rub so we get our hopefully complete image. So this is sort of like the spotlight technique again, but just with bigger sections. Oh. Okay, so that's our white piece. So I can move that out of the way now. Get rid of that out of the way. So what we're going to do now is that the piece of lemon lolly on the other card I stuck on like that, and then we went with white over the top. But I'm going to mix it up a little bit this time, and I'm going to stick the white, I think, onto the base, and then we'll do sections of lemon lolly, I think, or shall we? I wish this was live and then you could tell me what you want me to do. No, we're going to stick with the white on top, I think. So I'm just going to stick my lemon lolly layer. I'm going to say that when you've had too many sherbets. Which, if you're not in the UK, sherbets means drinks. Okay, although to be fair, I don't actually drink. Okay, so we're going to stick this down and try and make sure we've got an even border, top, bottom and sides. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is trim this white, basic white sheet down. So I'm going to take 4.5 centimetres off the top. So there isn't enough room here to stick it out that way, so we've got to go this way. So I'm going to do 4.5 centimetres off the top there. Now this is the way to get it even. So 4.5 off the top, and that's going to fit there. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to take 4.5 off the bottom. Just bear in mind that this piece of cardstock is the same size as our yellow piece, but we want to see some yellow. So that piece is going to line up at the bottom. That piece is going to line up at the top for now. And then obviously this piece is the chunk we've just taken out of the middle. So I'm going to move that very slightly down and very slightly up. Very, very slightly. Only a little bit, a tiny little bit. Because we sort of want it to still line up. And then this piece that we've got left, I want to go in the middle there, but obviously it's too big. So it is 5.5 wide. So I think if we take that down to 4.5 as well, we'll see. This is a bit of trial and error because there was only 2 bits on my other card. So let's see if that works, shall we? Okay, so we've stuck the back piece on, so that's coming down very slightly, and I mean very slightly, so the pattern still matches. That piece is going up very slightly, so the pattern still matches, and then this piece is going to go in the middle. There we go, so the pattern still matches, and you can see a little bit of the yellow. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so the easiest way to stick these on is to do the bottom and the top first and then stick the middle in. So this is our top piece. Now we're going to do dimensionals, so we want big ones. Just purely because you need less of them. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4. Now some people would put one in the middle as well, but I'm stingy with my dimensionals. Thing is, they aren't the cheapest thing in the world, and you know, especially when you're making a lot of cards, you can go through sheets of them. Right, okay, so we want to line this up. So we want it just very slightly dropped down so we get a tiny bit of the yellow. And the other thing we're trying to do is line it up widthways across here. And that's a bit too low. Again, don't press down on the dimensionals until you know that you're in the right place. So that's that one. And we know that's is that the middle? Yep. So we want the bottom one next, which is this one. And again, make sure you stick them on the right way up. It might look a little bit odd if you've got the one in the middle upside down, which is easily done, believe me, especially if you're crafting in a hurry. Okay, so this is the one for the bottom. And again, nearly stuck that on upside down. So we're just going to move that up very slightly from the bottom, just so we've got a hint of the yellow. Line it up with the edges. And then this is our last one. Now you could leave it like that. And you could put a label with a sentiment in the middle, which is what I did on my other example card. But on this one, I want to have all 3 layers. And again, you could stamp a greeting across this section, across there, in a darker colour, if you wanted to. Okay, and then this one, we should have a little bit more yellow. So this is the tricky one to line up. So you're going to line it up with the edge, trying to line the pattern up. But we want a little bit of the yellow. There we go. Is that level? No, not quite. This thing's got to come up a little bit. So don't press down on your dimensionals until you're absolutely happy. There we go. So there we go. So we've got the 3 sections. Now, some of you might be thinking, why did you bother to stamp that lemon lolly layer that is behind there? But you can see through, and, you know, I just think it gives a nice little edge to it. Okay, so that's our card there. So this was the other one that I made. As I said, I just did the top and bottom sections on that one, and then I added this fern leaf in as well, which you'll be seeing in other cards soon. Okay, so there's our 2 cards. I hope you like them. Obviously, you need a piece of basic white for in the middle there, so that you can write in your card. It just looks nicer if it's got a piece in the middle. And again, I haven't put it in, I haven't stuck it in because I haven't decided on my greeting. And once I do, if I mess up one side and it's stuck in, then I've messed up the whole card. If I mess up one side, I can flip it over. If I mess up both sides, then I can get a fresh piece. So that's my top tip for that. Okay, so there's our 2 cards. Hope you like them. Hope you'll give this technique a go. And I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.